UAE CBCR compliance requirements. The CBCR requirements apply to entities that are tax resident in the UAE, hereinafter, tax resident in the UAE, and are part of a multinational group of enterprises, MNE. With consolidated revenues equal to or exceeding AED 3.15 billion, approximately 764 million euros, $858 million in the financial year preceding the financial reporting year concerned. The resolution places a requirement on MNS with an ultimate parent entity, UPE, that is tax resident in the UAE, and exceeds the AED 3.15 billion consolidated revenues threshold, to file a CBC report within 12 months after the end of the financial reporting year. The resolution states that any affiliated entity of an MNE that is tax resident in the UAE, but is not the UPE, shall prepare and submit the CBCR on behalf of the MNE if certain conditions are met. However, where the tax resident entity in the UAE is not an UPE, a notification, discussed below, in lieu of an actual filing would satisfy the CBCR requirements, so long as the MNE has filed the CBCR in the UPE's tax jurisdiction or in a surrogate parent entity's SPE, tax jurisdiction, and certain conditions in relation to automatic exchange of the CBCR, by such tax jurisdictions with the UAE, are met. The CBCR requirements apply to entities that are tax resident in the UAE, hereinafter, tax resident in the UAE, and are part of a multinational group of enterprises, MNE, with consolidated revenues equal to or exceeding AED 3.15 billion, approximately 764 million euros, $858 million in the financial year preceding the financial reporting year concerned. MNE Group. Any group that 1. Includes two or more enterprises the tax residence for which is in different jurisdictions or includes an enterprise that is resident for tax purposes in one jurisdiction and is subject to tax with respect to the business carried out through a permanent establishment in another jurisdiction. 2. And having total consolidated group revenue equal to or more than AED 3,150 million, 3,150 million dirham, during the fiscal year immediately preceding the reporting fiscal year as reflected in its consolidated financial statements for such preceding fiscal year. Constituent entity, means any of the following. 1. Any separate business unit of an MNE Group that is included in the consolidated financial statements of the MNE Group for financial reporting preparation purposes or would be so included if equity interests in such business unit of an MNE Group were traded on a public securities exchange. 2. Any business unit that is excluded from the MNE Group's consolidated financial statements solely on size or materiality grounds. 3. Any permanent establishment of any separate business unit of the MNE Group, provided the business unit prepares a separate financial statement for such permanent establishment for financial reporting preparation, regulatory, tax reporting, or internal management control purposes. 8. Ultimate parent entity of MNE Group. 1. Owns directly or indirectly a sufficient interest in one or more other constituent entities of such MNE Group such that it is required to prepare consolidated financial statements, and 2. There is no other constituent entity of such MNE Group that owns directly or indirectly an interest in the above constituent entity. As per this resolution, broadly the following entities shall have an obligation to file a notification or required report with the prescribed contents within the specified timelines. Each ultimate parent entity of a multinational enterprise, MNE, Group which is resident for tax purposes in the UAE. Or constituent entity resident for tax purposes in the UAE, which is not the ultimate parent entity of an MNE Group. Any affiliated entity of an MNE that is tax resident in the UAE, shall notify the competent authority, i.e. the UAE Ministry of Finance, whether it bears the capacity of an ultimate or surrogate parent entity, no later than the last day of the financial reporting year of such MNE. If such entity is not an ultimate parent entity nor an surrogate parent entity, it shall notify the competent authority of the identity of the entity submitting the CBCR and its tax residence, no later than the last day of the financial reporting year of such MNE. The CBC report needs to include the amount of revenues, profits, losses, before income tax paid, income tax payable, declared capital, accrued profits, number of employees, and non-cash or cash equivalent assets for each country. In absence of any UAE generally accepted accounting principles, it will be interesting to see what accounting methods will be used to share the information. In addition to the above information, the tax residency of the subsidiaries needs to be disclosed, the nature of its activity or main business activities. The resolution imposes 4 types of administrative penalties on UAE tax resident entities subject to the CBC reporting, notification requirements as per the following. A. Failure to keep documents and information. An administrative fine of AED 100,000 is applicable in case of failure to keep the documents and information required under the resolution for a period of no less than 5 years from the date on which the CBCR is submitted to the competent authority. B. Failure to provide information. An administrative fine of AED 100,000 is applicable in case of failure to provide the competent authority with any information required in accordance with the CBCR and notification requirements. C. Failure to report information for reporting, notification purposes. An administrative fine of AED 1 million, plus AED 10,000 for each day of failure up to a maximum of AED 250,000, is applicable in case of failure to report the information required on the reporting date fixed, or in case of failure to notify the competent authority, on or prior to the date fixed for reporting, of the intention to submit the CBCR with respect to a particular accounting period. D. Failure to provide full and accurate information. An administrative fine of no less than AED 50,000 and not exceeding AED 500,000 is applicable in case of failure to report full and accurate information. Except for the additional fine provided for under C, the total fines imposed for any of the violations above may not exceed, within any financial reporting year, the sum of AED 1 million. Further, the resolution outlines in detail the procedures for imposing the administrative penalties as well as procedures for appealing the decisions imposing such penalties. For more information, RBS Tax Consultants and RBS and Abdul Rahman Auditing. Call us on 05017555867 or 0458399111. Log on for more information. www.rbsaccounting.com. Thank you for watching.